All right, this is it. This is the last thing we're going to talk about for today, dividing radicals. So when it comes to dividing radicals, what we're going to do is we're going to separate the radical sign. And remember, in our head, we're going to ignore the radical symbol for a moment, and we're just going to focus on 48 divided by 3. And guys, for 48 divided by 3, remember, we're going to use this Desmos calculator. So when we type in 48 divided by 3, it shows up, and since it's a whole number, it's not going to ask me if I want to convert it to a fraction. So when it's a whole number, we're just going to take that whole number. So 45 divided by 3, that is just a 16. So what we're really doing is we're just taking the square root of 16. And the square root of 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So I have 2 circles that I would draw around. So, and no remainder. So we're not going to have a radical sign in our answer. So it's 2 squared, and 2 squared, of course, is 4. And that is what we would box in for our final answer for this problem. All right, let's take a look at number 17. For number 17, remember, we're just going to ignore the square root symbol for a moment, and we're just going to simplify the fraction. So I do need Desmos for this. So for Desmos, I'm going to kind of clear out my work here, and I'm going to type in the problem, which is 18, and remember it was 18 divided by 75. So they give us a decimal, but we don't need the decimal. We need the fraction form. So our fraction is 6 over 25. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as the square root of 6 over the square root of 25. 6 is like not a prime number, but it's just 2 times 3. 25 is perfect. That's 5 times 5. So our final answer for this is the square root of 6 over a 5. Remember, 2 times 3, there weren't any pairs there, so you have to make sure you keep the square root symbol. But the bottom number was perfect. Make sure there is not a square root symbol on the denominator. That's it. Let's box it in. All right, so 18. We're almost done. Here's what I want to talk to you about 18. When it comes to 18, we really just need to split the problem in half. We're going to focus on this 6 divided by 2, which is 3. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But remember, we got to just worry about simplifying the fraction. So let's do 56 divided by 63. And again, I'm going to use Desmos. Desmos is my friend, like math is fun. So remember, it is 56 divided by 63. And we get that. I don't even know what that is. But I know that fraction. So that's what I want to use. So I'm not going to write 56 divided by 63 anymore. I'm going to write 8 over 9. And redraw the square root symbols. So remember, 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. 9 is 3 times 3. And when we draw our groups, you're not going to have a square root symbol in the denominator. We're not going to have a remainder. So our answer for this first piece is going to be a 2 on the outside, a 2 on the inside, and just a plain 3. But look, remember we had that in the beginning. 6 divided by 2, y'all, that's just a 3. And it's a whole number 3, which means that 3 is going to go on the top. So it's going to be 3 times 2 root 2 over the square root of 3. And remember, on my smartboard, I grayed that out because I didn't want to look at that for a few minutes. So I don't really, is this really going to work for me? Probably not. But I just found this little itty bitty piece of paper, and I'm just going to put it right there, and we're going to pretend that we don't see that. So let's just focus on 3 times 2 over 3. Look right here. Those cancel out. So if those cancel out, our final answer for this is 2 square root 2. And that is what we're going to box in. All right, so listen. You got a test tomorrow. It's been a long time since we've had a test. And I just want you to remember this is what you got to have. This is what you got to be ready for tomorrow. Your glossary, you got to have that glossary ready because there's matching with definitions. You got to remember what a prime number is. You got to remember what a composite number is. We've written that in our notes. And this is everything that we've covered. So just 4 things. Simplify, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. This one's probably, the most steps involved. It's the very last thing we talked about. So make sure you have your notes ready for that. These 2 sites, you got to have these 2 sites up and ready to go. And that's it. You guys do great tomorrow on your test.